G'day folks, in this video I'll show you how you can solve this crazy 3x3 plus Saturn using a new and improved method. Well, I've had a video out on this one before, but I wanted to make a new one because I love this method so much better. If you recall, the previous method, due to the nature of the Saturn cube, we had to kind of reduce the edges in place. And so we had to, say for the white orange edge, we would need to place certain things down here first, or I should say the yellow orange edge, place it down there first and kind of move it up here and put it on, but it needed to be in place. And it was still reduction, but it was a little bit trickier and a little bit not quite as nice. Come across a method that allows us to do a normal reduction solve, and I love it. So I want to show it to you. And this came about from a comment made by a solver from about 10 years ago on the Twisty Puzzles forum named Andrea or Andrea. I'm not sure how you say that. She was a fantastic solver. It's not that she's died. She's just not on the forums much anymore. But she proposed a way to be able to flip these edges after reducing them. And that was the whole reason for initially putting the edges in place, is that it was difficult to flip them after a reduction. She came up with such a great method. I want to show it to you now on a solved puzzle. Well, on this solved puzzle, what we're going to do is a sune followed by a U-turn of the upper face. And we're using one of the faces, which is a zero face, so the white face will do. Could use the yellow face, but that will be our upper face, and obviously any of these side faces would work as our right face. So the sune first of all. Now we'll just stop there and note that it does exactly as expected. This piece here stays exactly where it is, and these three edges have cycled round. The corners have swapped as well. It's also done things to circle corners. We're not concerned with that. Let's now do a U-turn on the upper face to follow that sune. First thing we notice is that this one is back in position, as is this one. So these two at the back have not been touched. The two at the front have effectively swapped their positions. So clearly the white blue, which was here, has moved around to there. Now what that means is that, for example, if I was to move this white blue back into that position, just by doing a down, down, up, up, and then perhaps put the white red in that position, we can see that both of these pieces have flipped. So they were in this position, so the white blue belonged here and the white was on top. It's now back into this position, but it's been flipped. And that's the beauty of that sune plus a U-turn. That's pretty cool, eh? So all it is a sune plus a U-turn, and it will flip these two edges sitting here. So it's very simple to do, and I'm going to take you through the whole thing now. So due to the fact that we can do that, the very first thing that we want to do is just reduce the edges exactly like we would for a Jupiter cube. And that just means putting any edge up there. There's a circle edge here, there's an outer edge here or here. We just turn it on. In this case, I might turn it that way because it'll allow me to reduce those two edges. So I'm attaching the outer edge to the circle edge. That's what I mean by reducing the edges. I will then just move that off, move something else in, and normally there's one at least that you can do. You can see here again, I could turn this twice and get two of them done. So I'll move that up. I'm not even sure what it is, but as I say, normally it'll get the job done. Doing well here. Bring one up there. Turn this around. And as I said, it's not tricky to do. You just need to keep finding unreduced edges. And do we have a situation here? Oh, I thought maybe we couldn't do anything, but we can. Bring that one up. There's the orange comes to there. Bring another one up. The red can go to there. If you keep doing it on one line, of course, you'll run out of pieces on this line. So then you might say, well, this one can go up to there. And I should point out with the Saturn puzzle, it's got two opposite faces, which are zero faces. So those center parts stay fixed. This is the other one. It's the white and yellow. And all these middle faces are one faces where the center parts move with the outer collar. Let's continue on our way here. We see now there's no way that I can reduce any edges on there at the moment. So what I would do is just say, well, let's bring something else up that might help. There's a yellow outer edge, which can turn around to here. That's good. Nothing else on this line. So now I'll bring this one up to the top. See if that helps. It does. Now, at this point, there's really nothing sort of available here. I could, of course, grab this one, bring that around into that position. It moves another one here. I could put that one back if I liked. And in fact, in this case, it probably makes sense too, because I can get that green around to there. I could also say, you know what, I'm running out of pieces on here. I'm going to reduce this one and see if we can get a few pieces onto this line. That one won't work. In fact, there's not much that will work because most of them are now done. If you look around, you can see there's not really a whole lot left. So what I'll do is reduce this yellow one. I can put the white red up into its position. I like to start having a look and say, well, what's left to do? This one can go up to here as well. And just down the bottom, that's fully reduced. I've got one bit here, that's fully reduced, and one bit here. So this one can clearly come up. If I'm able to reduce this green, and yes, I saw that white, but I'll just leave that for the moment, then I can get this one up. So we kind of know now 3 of them on the bottom. Let's see. I can get this one done. I can put this one up here, and that should be then all of the edges on the bottom layer are reduced. Let's check the middle. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. You can see how quick this is. And it tells us that the only things left to be reduced are sitting on the top layer. So initially I would just check and say, do each of the edges only have one bit to do? Yes, yes, yes. That one's got 2. So I'd definitely like to take care of the one with 2 initially. So let's say that I could turn it this way. You can see that that gets 3 of them done, and that's fine. That will leave me with a blue white and a white blue, no problem. I could also turn it this way. That'll get those 2 oranges done, and it'll leave me with a white yellow, a blue, sorry, that's a yellow white, a blue yellow, and a white blue over here. So much of a muchness. Probably what I would do is do that, flip this one over to this position, and now I've got these 2. So the only way, or the only thing I need to do to finish this off is put the same color here and here. There's a red there. Let's move a red up. I can now turn them around, and all of the edges are now reduced. Now, as I said at the start, on the previous method, I would not be able to place some of these edges into their position. For example, if we look at this yellow-blue edge here, you can see the yellow's attached to the yellow face. If I was to turn it round, suddenly I've got a problem. It's become unreduced here because this yellow face, this lower face, is a 0 face. That was the issue that we had. So we now want to apply what I showed at the start, which was a sune plus a U-turn, to flip any edges that are bad edges that need flipping. So what I would do would be to start with the equatorial edges, then do the yellows and finish with the whites. So let's get all the equatorial edges up to the top just so we can see what's what. So anything without a yellow and a white, that should be up there, that should be up there. There's another one. And it's the last one, this red-green. Okay, we'll put that up there as well. So all 4 of them are up. Let's check. The way we can check is either just by turning them into position and seeing very clearly that that is flipped, or that needs to be flipped. That's what I'm calling a bad edge. So the red-green needs to be flipped. If I turn this red-blue down, that is correct. And you can see that I would be able to turn it over to there into its correct position. So that's fine. The blue-orange, I'll turn that. That is also correct. The orange is matching. Notice that to check whether they're flipped, I'm just turning these side faces. I'm not turning the upper and the lower. What about the orange-green? Again, I can turn that down, and that is a good edge, no problems. So it's only this red-green. So what I know now is that I need to flip the red-green with something else, something next in the progression. And I said I was going to do yellows. So I'll either do with a yellow-red or a yellow-green. Now, it is possible that neither of those will work, in which case I would go and try with whites. But here we have a yellow-red, and I don't even care if this is correct or not. I'm not interested in that. All I want to do is make sure that this red-green gets flipped. So to do that, I need another piece with the same color here. It does not matter what's sitting in those positions. So now that that's ready, I'll carry out the sune. Plus the U-turn. There's the magic. And that red-green has now been flipped. It has moved from there around to here. And if we now try it in its position, we'll see, good. That is correct, that is correct. And we can happily see that just by turning these side faces and noting, yep, that is lovely now. So the equatorial ones are done. Let's now look at the yellows. Let's bring the yellows up. It's not essential to bring them up, by the way. It's just kind of helps to see what's going on. Let's have a look what we've got. This yellow-green definitely needs to move to there. This yellow-orange definitely needs to move to there. So both of them need flipping. The yellow-blue needs to move back here. So that needs flipping. And the yellow-red needs to move around to here. So that absolutely needs flipping. So all four of these things need flipping or moving to the adjacent spot. Now this is a very special little case here, and I have not ever got this before, so it's pretty cool that I've got it now. If you have all four of them that need flipping and you can set them up, you can simply turn this U face one turn. So if I was to turn the red around to there, that's good. The green goes to there. Now, is it possible to set them up so that I could turn all of them and one turn? And what I mean by that is, let's say that I do this. Do one turn, you can see the yellow-red is now obviously a good edge. So is the yellow-orange. The yellow-green and the yellow-blue are also good edges. They no longer need flipping because they are now in a correct position for them. And for example, that yellow-green, I could just turn that around like that. Same thing with the yellow-blue. And if I was to put all the yellow edges up now, we would see that they're all correct. So that is one little way of doing that. I'm going to pretend that that didn't happen. I'm going to pretend that it was not possible to do that. And we had a situation, let's say, like, I'll just turn it sort of back to where it was, something like that. We were looking at this and saying, well, look, I've got to flip the yellow-blue and the yellow-orange here. That's got to go there, that's got to go there. Okay, so we would just use these two and do our sune plus U. That's done. They are now correct. We'll go around here. These two need flipping as well. There we go. So you can see you can get the same result without too much hassle. So at this point, these middle layer edges are flipped. The yellow edges are flipped. What about the white edges? Again, I'll bring them up. We'll have a look at them. And let's check what we've got. Well, the white-orange is correct because that is in its position where it can be solved using side faces. The white-green is correct. The white-blue needs to go to here. The white-red needs to go here. So in this instance, we've got these last two edges that just need to flip. Well, they're both white, and so they're now in position, and we can carry that out. That last U-turn, and all of our edges are now flipped. They're good, if you like, and they're ready to be placed once we've reduced the corners. However, there are instances where it's not that simple, and I'll set up for that now. All right, let's work our way through this one. At this point, I've got all the equatorial edges. So the green, red, the blue, orange, the blue, red, and the green, orange. You can see, I'll turn that around. That can be solved, no problem. So the equatorials are done. I now look at the yellows. the yellow green, that's fine. Yellow orange is good. The yellow blue is fine. What about the yellow red? If I turn that up to here, I'll see, okay, that needs to go across to there. So because I want to use the next lot that I'm doing to help me, I've got no more yellows, I've got no equatorials. I'm now going to move on to the whites to help me. So what I would do would be initially to say, well, I'll put the red piece up there and I'm going to try and use the red white because that's the common color. But you'll notice that it's opposite. And so I can't get that right red white into this position, so to be adjacent. So in a case like this, what you've got to then do is say, well, I've got to use another white piece to flip this one around so that it can flip this one. So for example, let's put the white red there. I'll just grab any other white piece that I can use. So this white blue will do the job. I'm going to flip these two. Remember, this is the red yellow that we're really trying to do here. Okay, so that hasn't changed, but this white red now that that has been flipped, I can move this over into position next to the red yellow. So now I'm able to flip this red yellow. Okay, so we've now got all of the yellow pieces ready to be placed. Now we move on to the whites. We do the same thing. We check what's going on with the whites. That there. Okay, so we've got the yellow blue. I just said yellow blue. That is white blue. Going mad. That's the white blue and the white green, both of which are correct and in position. The white red and the white orange are incorrect. So we can clearly see that if we were to try and place them, or we just can't place them into their correct position without turning a face. Without turning this white face to do that, that mucks things up, and we cannot get the white green and the white blue over here to do it. So this is the other kind of problem that you have. When you come to the end, you've got two to do, and they're sort of opposite each other, and you've got no more to help you. You've got no more to play with. So in this instance, what we want to do is say, well, I've got white orange and white red. The colours involved there are the orange and the red colours. So I'm going to try and use perhaps some equatorial edges, which are orange and red. So I might say, well, let's see if we can use the blue red and the blue orange to help us get this done. I'll focus on one piece at a time. So the first thing, let's forget the white orange for a minute. Let's go ahead and try and flip this white red. To do that, I will use the blue red. So I'll firstly put the white red to there and put the blue red there. So I'm going sort of backwards here and sacrificing an equatorial edge, which is eventually going to come good. So let's deal with the white red first. Okay, white red done and dusted. Now, clearly the blue red has now come out, but remember the other color I've got to deal with is white orange. So I said I would also try and use the red, the blue orange. So let's have a look what will happen with the blue orange. I can certainly place that blue orange into here, no problem. Can I now get the blue red over to here? Well, because it's a bad edge, I now can. So remember what we've done. We've got the white red now as a good edge. This is wrong. At the moment, this is correct, this blue orange. So let's go ahead and now fix up this blue red using the next piece that we've got available. The blue red is now okay. Now I'm left with the blue orange, and I've still got this white orange piece to fix. So the common color there is orange. Now, sometimes this will go and it'll be correct and it'll all work out. Other times like this, it will not. So you've got the orange white there. You were hoping that the orange blue would be placing here, but it doesn't. So now we've got to say, okay, I'm going to have to flip this. I'm going to have to go through another chain and flip this orange blue with, say, perhaps a yellow blue or a yellow orange or something like that. So let's see if we can grab the yellow orange. Where does that live? That's over here. Okay, so that's currently a good edge. This is a bad one. This move is going to fix the orange blue and make the yellow orange bad. Okay, so that's, well, that one's now good. This yellow orange is bad. I've got the white orange. Now I will say, okay, well, they're still opposite. What can I do now? I can go and search for another joining piece. So let's have a look potentially at, I would then say, well, this orange green will be okay. It's currently a good edge. The orange yellow is not. So my hope is then that once the orange green is out, I can use the white green and then cycle through to there. So we'll go ahead and do these two. The orange green can now be placed here, and you'll notice that the white green is now next to it, and so those two are okay. Okay, so the orange green is now done. The white green's out. However, the white orange, which is the last piece we had to do, was still out. So if I turn the white green over to there, and the white orange now can be turned next to it, these are the last two edges that I need to flip. And we've done a little bit of a chain there, working through various pieces until we got where we wanted to go. We can now flip these two. And at the end of all that, all of our edges are now good edges. They are able to be placed into their position correctly without needing to be flipped. Now that was actually quite a journey, that last one. I'm glad that happened. It doesn't normally take that long to do it, or that many pieces to wind your way through, but that's the sort of thing that you can do. So at this point, all the edges are reduced and flipped. In other words, they are able to be placed without turning these zero faces. So you could grab any of these edges and say, what about this yellow-green? Could that be placed? Yes, I could go ahead and just turn that across to there. I'm only turning side faces. That is in position. That's the thing that we're looking for, and we have now reached that. The next stage of the solve is to reduce the corners. So what we're doing here is we want to turn the white or the yellow face to be able to match corners up like that. So that is now a reduced part of a corner. You'll notice that I've done that and it's knocked out these edges. So before I do this, I need to get 4 edges of the same color on this face. Now for me, I'm going to put the white edges there and I'm going to put them in position because it makes it much easier to get going on the last stage of the solve. So this white red will turn up to there. Notice how all these white edges are just going straight in. There's no issues of any kind here. There's no flipped edges. That's what we're talking about. So these are now in. They are also correctly in position. That'll help at the end. Okay, so I don't want to turn this yet because that one's done. So all I'm doing here is just replacing this with some other corner down here that's not yet done. So in this case, I can just do an up, up, down, down. And now I'll just go, well, that green outer can go and attach with the green inner. That bit's now reduced. I'll just put another one, up, up, down, down. Eventually, we're going to get to the point where everything on the bottom is done, and then we will rotate these corners on the top to go where we want them. What can we do here? Not a lot by the look of it, so I might just sort of move around and say, well, if I rotate this one, or if I bring this one up to the top, then I've got an orange outer corner. It can be moved around to there. That's done. Let's replace it. What do I have now? This blue one's also done, so we'll bring this new corner up. Again, nothing really helpful. So one thing that I can do now is just rotate this corner here so that that part goes up to the top. So to do that, it's an up, up, down, down 2 times. That blue can then go around to there, or the red could go here, whatever I wanted. That will work okay. We'll put this one up. And the red can now go to there. I've got a blue that's ready to come around here as well in a minute. So let's see what makes sense. What makes sense is that this yellow outer would like to come to a yellow inner. And I can achieve that by putting this corner up there. Okay, that's now done. I can now replace both of these. And in this case, I can either rotate this one up or I can get this corner up to the top. Doesn't really matter. I'll probably just rotate it for now. This one over here, what have we got? Well, either of these would be a good option. So let's put the orange outer up so that it can match over there if need be. We've also got this one that needs to be dealt with, so we'll put this corner up. Okay, well, yep, I'll do 2 turns. It'll do the orange and it'll do this white here. So now we'll go and replace both of them. The red can come to here. That white will also go to there. And I hope you can see this is really a super simple process. Made very simple because we've got these 4 edges of the same color. Now, interesting little thing here. We've got this one. We've got these 3 that have corners. This one is done, and the corner below it is also done. What about over here? This one has 1 part. This one has 1 part. So we're getting quite close. So at this point, because these 2 contain bits that are done, I don't even care about what happens here, because now I want to get the remaining 4 corners. Well, I want to get to the point where I have 4 corners, which each have 1 bit to deal with. So the first thing that I'll notice is that this one has 2 parts to deal with. So I'm going to try and get this solved in some way. If I have a red outer somewhere, well, here's a red outer. I can rotate this one around. As I said, I'm not concerned with this bit at the moment. Let's rotate that around. Now, has that actually done it? No, it hasn't, because that one, it's dealt with that red inner, but really what I wanted was for this orange to go to an orange inner. So can I easily achieve that? Not super easily unless I sacrifice this bit. So the other thing that I would do here would be to rotate this corner up so the white outer is on the top. Then I can move the white outer around to here. So now this corner only has 1 bit to do. Let's check the others. 1, 1, 1. That's good. That's done. That's done. 1 there, 1 here. That's awesome. So all the corners now only have 1 bit. Let's see, can we replace this one here? I'll rotate this around. And I'd like to get, if I can, I'd like to get a corner down the bottom here, which is done. And I can achieve that by moving this one here and then replacing it with this one. Now, to replace it with this one, which has this bit on the bottom, I want to do 3 up, up, down, downs. Okay, so that's complete. Those 2 are, I've just got this one here. So the next thing I'd like to try and get a corner in this position, which will be completely done. Now I can achieve that by simply turning that around and replacing it with this one. Okay, so now all of the bottom corners are completely reduced and everything I've got left to do is on the top. Now, sometimes you'll just turn them around 1 turn and they'll be done. Other times not. So let's see what's what. Each of these has 1 corner, which is good. If I turn the green to here, if I turn 2 turns, I'm going to solve this one and this one. Now you'll notice that it leaves a yellow-red and a red-yellow. Now that being the case, if I can, I would get 2 corners here which are both red or both yellow to finish this off. Now I can definitely rotate this one around. The problem is that I don't have a yellow corner over here. I do, however, have a red corner here and a red corner here. So that is the go. I'm going to place this red one up the top. And then, and this does sometimes happen as well. As soon as I've done that, the other red corner has vanished. So because of this, what I'm going to do now is say, I'm going to rotate this yellow around and see if that helps. Of course, it probably won't. And at this point, I'm going, this isn't working too well. What we're going to do is sacrifice one of these things, do a turn, and see if that makes anything better. So I've still got that situation. Now, you can see that I've got a red here and I've got a red sitting here, which I can bring up. The reason for doing that and having 2 corners of the same color is now this yellow will go around to here and the reds will just cycle around like so. And that has reduced all of the corners. So things are now ready to place. Now you remember that at the beginning, I got these white edges into their position. Now at this point, you can have one of 2 scenarios. You can, or in fact 3, you could have them solved. You could have them in a scenario that we have now, which is they're all opposite. The white, green, the white, blue are opposite each other. The white, orange, white, red are opposite. Now, if that's the case, you can very simply just move them around in that fashion and they will solve. The other scenario you can get is that all the edges are one out. So in other words, the white, orange would have to turn here, the white, green would have to turn here, etc., etc. Obviously to the correct colors. I'm going to pretend that that's what I've got now and show you how to deal with it. Because you can still do it with this as well. What you need is just to put 4 corners with the same color on the top. And we've got 3 reds. Let's move this red up. And now that we've got 4 corners of the same color, I can turn this wherever I need to turn it. 1 turn, 2 turns, whatever. Those white edges are now in place and I'm ready to move on to solve my 3 middle layer edges. Again, I don't want to turn this upper yellow face now because it will undo the work we've done. So firstly, I'll place the red green. I'll place anything that I can in the middle. The orange blue is already placed. This orange green I can place over here by turning it down for a setup and then moving it across to this position. And notice that all I'm doing is turning side faces here. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, done. Let's now look at this edge and use this to get these 2 on the back done. So the yellow orange and the yellow green. Well, the first thing, let's have a look. I notice the yellow green is in that yellow orange position, so I'm going to place the yellow orange first. Well, to do that, I'll set up by turning the position down to here and then cycling these around. Undo the setup and that yellow orange goes in. Now, the yellow green's over here. It's got a flip over to there, but this one's already done. So again, you can do a simple setup because this one is, we don't care about this yet. And just turn that down to there. Now I've got these 3 edges and I can happily place the yellow green into that position. I'll undo that setup to put this one back. Now that will leave the last 3 edges either solved or in a 3 cycle like this, in which case you can do your last move, or you could have a swap. And here's an example of a swap where we've got this yellow blue solved. I've got the red blue needs to come here, the yellow red needs to go there. All other edges are solved. Well, if that's the case, all we want to do is turn one of the side faces, not the top face. It'll disrupt what we've done. I want to turn one of the side faces one turn. Now, having done that, we now want to replace these edges that have come out using an even number of turns on this face. So the first thing, I'll put the white red back to here. So I'll just move it out of the way, put its position up, undo, undo. That one's back in. The next one is this red green. That's sitting in that position. So again, I can turn that around, put it on, undo, undo, and you'll see these have now become solved, and they'll either do that or they'll just be in a very simple 3 cycle. Well, that completes the placement of the edges. The final stage is to place the corners. And again, you can do that however you like. I'll use the corner piece series. The only thing is we don't want to be turning the white face or the yellow face when we do the actual move. We can turn them for setups if we need to. In fact, I lie, that is not true. Don't turn them at all. Let's have a look here. The white, orange, blue, I can either bring that down on the side here, or I can bring it across the back, whatever's more convenient. And in this case, it's definitely more convenient to bring it across the back because the yellow and white are on the front and back face. And for the corner piece series, it's only the right, up and left faces that are involved. So that's perfect. I'll place this one over into this position first. All done. Let's find another one. Okay, I've got a yellow, blue, orange here. Now, I could hold it like this and roll it around here, but you'll notice the side faces are ones that I don't want to turn. So let's turn it like this and say this has got to go across the back to here. Now, the issue is that I need a piece in that position that I can use. And I can't really turn this piece up like that because it'll break the reduced corners. So I've got to think, is there another way that I can get around this? There may not be. I'll just have a quick look. Can't really turn that one up. I don't think there's a super easy way at the moment. So what I would do then is just have a look, go back to here and say, look, if I turn that, does it help? Does it disrupt anything? Sometimes it will, sometimes it won't. So this would allow me to place the yellow, blue, orange down into this position. At the moment, these faces are on the side. If I do a slice turn like that, now these faces are on front and back. They will not be involved. And you'll notice the corners have not been disrupted in any way. So that means I can now go ahead and place the yellow, blue, orange corner down to here, involving these 3 pieces. That's done. We'll return that slice move. Now notice that I did a slice move like that. If I had done a slice move like this one, notice that I have disrupted corners. And that's what I mean by sometimes it will disrupt, sometimes not. All right, where are we? Okay, nothing that looks like it's going to easily roll. So I'm now going to see, can I get something going across a diagonal? I've got this one here, which could go to there, but I would need a corner here to do that first. There's a couple of options here. The first thing is I could just try turning that slice, and what I'm able to do then is turn this up into that position. Notice that this is now a one face, so it doesn't affect the corners, and this can now roll across the back there. And it will solve, because it doesn't look like it will because this has been turned, but it absolutely will. So these 3 again can now be cycled. Okay, remember that's the corner that I've just placed. I will now undo the 2 setup moves that I had. That was the first, that was the second, and you'll notice that is in. 1, 2, 3, is that right? Yes, the last 3. So I've got white, red, blue going to here, white, orange, green going to here, red, blue, yellow coming back to here. Now it's very unlikely that these last 3 will solve into position perfectly. This one's not going to roll. I can do a setup there and have a situation where this one will roll. Let's have a look. Yep, even if I try then, if I have this one rolling like that and I try getting this one to here and moving this into the correct position, I'm not going to be able to do the setups required. So what I would do here is say, I just want to place one of them. I'm going to place this white, orange, green across to there, get that solved first of all. And to do that, I can use these three again. And I've just got this white on the top. So I'm just going to see, can I turn that and does it not disrupt corners? That's all good. So now I'll place the one that I wanted. I think it was this one. Okay, that's done. Let's undo the setups. And what we have left now is two corners that need twisting. One anti-clockwise, one clockwise. Now normally to twist two corners, what I would do is something like, I would say, well, I'll do an up, up, down, down to twist one of them here. And then I'll turn this upper face. So you'll notice that it involves three faces around a corner. I cannot do that because one of these faces on this puzzle is going to be a zero face. So it means that I need to use a sune method to do it. Now in this case, what I need to have in order to do this correctly is just the upper face and the right face, well, and in fact the left face as well, one faces. And that is exactly what we've got here. So basically the same setup that we just used for the corner piece series. This corner at the front will twist anti-clockwise. This one will twist clockwise. So all I want to do here is a sune and then a sune mirror. That's the sune. Follow it with the sune mirror, and those corners have been twisted. So that is the better method for Saturn, I think. And I really like that method of flipping those edges. And it's very applicable as we move on to other puzzles of the Saturn variety, crazy two-face type puzzles and other things of that nature. It's going to make things a lot easier. That is this new and improved Saturn tutorial. Hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.